So joining me is Lizzy Rose. Firstly, I want to applaud you for your bravery and dedication in supporting freedom and setting a wonderful example for others to follow. Now, you recently made headlines for your exercising of human rights in relation to not wearing a mask in Bunnings. Talk us through what went down that day, please.
Thank you for your lovely welcome and your support. Thank you. It's lovely to be with you. That day, 26th of July, it's my local Bunnings store, and I literally just went shopping. I'm renovating my garden out the front. I'm digging it all up, and I went to get a whole pile of pots and potting mix and some shovels and stuff like that. So it was just quite ordinary and quite normal, I guess, for me to do. I walked into my store without filming. I wasn't filming. I wasn't wearing a mask because I have a medical exemption. And for probably a good 5 minutes or so, I wasn't spoken to. Lots of staff seen me, smiled at me, recognised me. And I just got my trolley and just went up and down the aisles shopping and got stuck in the shovel aisle because they had not many shovels. I think a lot of people have been doing their gardens in this lockdown, so they didn't have much stock. And it was there that things started to change. You know, a man came up to me and he said, "Why haven't you got a mask on?" And it was just straight to being very aggressive. And I said, "I'm medically exempt." I smiled, you know, I wasn't antagonistic. I still wasn't filming. He went, "Oh," and sort of walked away. And proceeded, came back again. I was still looking at shovels. And I said to him, "Is this all these shovels you've got?" Yeah. And we had a bit of a chat about the shovels. And he wasn't happy about the fact that I didn't have a mask. And he came back again and he said, "You got to prove it. You know, what do you mean you've got an exemption?" And I said, "Well, I've actually got it with me. You know, I'm happy to show you, but I don't really have to, but I'm happy to show you." And he said, yeah, you better, you know. And it became quite aggressive, and then there was another staff member that approached, and then a few others, and I proceeded to show them the medical exemption, and he tried to take it off me. He tried to, and I knew he was going to destroy it, the way he was tugging at it. It was just really ridiculous and over the top, and it was very clear that I was medically exempt and able to shop there. And I said, "I just want to keep shopping," and I proceeded up another aisle and got a few other things. And by this time that's when I started filming, because I felt this is going to get really nasty. And it felt very strange because also it's a store I've shopped in for 17 years. I've bought thousands, you know, I've spent a lot of money, and a lot of the staff know me. So it's that feeling of, do I really film this? Is this really happening? But you go into that protection mode. Maybe I should film this because everybody's looking so scared. It was in July, and it was a very different energy to now. In September, you know, there was a lot of fear, and from the people and the staff. And then they all surrounded me, 5 staff members, and it became really antagonistic, bailed me up into a corner, and I'm like, "Well, I have to film this." And as soon as I started, that's when they all backed off, of course, because they probably didn't want to be seen. And just the managers in sight a little bit. And it turned out where he rang the police, and he's speaking to the police officer on the phone. You can hear him saying it's the police. And he said she's got I think he said at the time I think she's got a bogus piece of paper referring to my certificate. And that's when I pipe up and say, "It's not bogus, it's actually legitimate. I wouldn't bring a bogus piece of paper or make these statements." So, you know, I ended up going to the counter, trying to pay for my goods, filming the whole time to protect myself, because I thought this is really out of control. It was really full on. And again, very strange and uncomfortable. And and it just ended up, there was a young man there who said, "Don't film me." And I'm not the first Bunnings Karen that, no disrespect to her, I now actually know her online, but I haven't walked into stores filming people intentionally, filming staff and not much of myself to get a reaction or make my point, which I agree with what she's saying, but I did things differently. My situation was filming myself predominantly to protect myself, you know, and I ended up just leaving my shopping and just leaving. No police were called. You know, I wasn't arrested. I wasn't fined. I didn't see police at all. I didn't hear from them or anything like that, and I just left. But the fact that I then did a little video in the car park just around the corner because I was just so shocked at what had happened.
It's very unfair and unreasonable treatment. And when you're a loyal customer for many years, to have that type of reception and be greeted with animosity and hostility from people that should be there to support and provide assistance. They're working in retail. They're not there to scrutinise people over medical exemptions. You should have been treated with respect and courtesy.
Yeah.
And the way they went about it was appalling, and people deserve much better. Now, it was a very smart move what you did. You filmed them. That holds them accountable for their behaviour, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And since then, I must say I've got a really lovely relationship with Bunnings. They keep sending me things at like extra. I'm ordering still a lot of things for my garden, and they're sending me extra pots, or going the extra mile to be nice. And I know lots of the stores: Thomastown, Epping, hi guys, Maribyrnong, Sunbury, Anna and Sunbury. Like, I know them all by name now, these managers, and they're like, Lizzy, what would you like today? So roll on September, it's a different situation. But back then, they actually made a statement saying that they hadn't apologised to me, which was a lie. They actually had, but they hadn't publicly. They apologised via messenger, by a Facebook messenger. And I've kept the screenshots, and actually showed police that later for a different situation. So it's a pity that they can't come out publicly and just say, look, it was wrong. Yes, they have a right to say, can you leave our premises? It's our premises. However, again, like you said, I'm a loyal customer. I wasn't doing anything wrong. I was just trying to shop. And these days, if you walk into Bunnings, 3 or so, 5-ish, what is it now, July? So a few months later, if you walk into Bunnings, I've found in some stores now without a mask, and you just say, I've got an exemption. Well, personally, I've been told that that's fine, keep shopping. So I think things have changed a little bit, but it was wrong, I believe, what happened. And if I'd been a different type of person, maybe an elderly person or someone very scared, I think it could have caused a lot of trauma for me. I know one person, in fact, tried to hang herself after a situation like
isn't
that.
it? And the mainstream media like to make an example out of people. They're notorious for misinformation, slander and defamation. Anybody that speaks out about the truth, they're looked down upon and ridiculed. Now, the way you handled yourself was remarkable.
Thank you.
Very truthful and very proud and confident. And you could see the frustration because they were trying to get leverage and advantage and slander yourself, but they were unable to do that. It seems like they're working actively against the people.
Yes.
And that seems to be a common issue. And that is very traumatic when people are broadcasted on the mainstream media all across the news. And that's a lot to comprehend with, isn't it?
Absolutely. And I think they expected, even the people, you know, the innocent people were very expectant of me to get into trouble. And even now they're saying, you know, you're this terrible person, the Bunnings Karen person, you know, how it all started. It's like, well, no, I just, you know, went shopping. I just innocently went shopping, had an exemption, wasn't antagonistic, wasn't abusive, you know, was within my rights. And of course, no police have been involved because I didn't break the law, you know. So, and people still, though, they don't listen to the story, and they just assume that you've, obviously, if you've been defamed. And Carl, you know, the Today Show, what happened with that, that was, you know, that didn't help matters because he invited me on his show. I answered his questions. I explained my situation. Me being a psychic has nothing to do with going shopping in Bunnings. And, I think because he didn't get the bite that he wanted from me, he just cut the interview and tried to make me look bad that way. And it's like, people listen to what I said, you know.
And I think that backfired on him as well, because you could see he was trying to go for a nefarious angle, and they always try and do a lot of mud raking, and they were unsuccessful in doing that because you were very well versed on medical procedures and masks, and you were very much educated on that. And that's where he became struggling with that, wasn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, and you had no intention of creating a disturbance. You were simply going about your shopping. And how many other people are concerned or apprehensive about going to Bunnings because they're worried they might receive the same sort of treatment? This is not good for the image of this hardware store and public relations, is it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, what would be your advice to someone that has an exemption from wearing a mask, but they see the treatment other people are receiving and they're afraid to leave the house, which is very common at the moment?
I think, again, it's important to stay calm, all right? So stay in your power, smile, you know, it doesn't hurt, even if you're a gorgeous guy like yourself, you know? Just go, hey, guys, you know, don't come from a place of, I'm going to be attacked, because, again, whatever energy you put out, it's going to come back at you. So if you come from, I'm powerful, I'm wise, I'm not doing anything illegal, I have a right to go anywhere. I travel anywhere. As you know, I travel all over Victoria with no mask. Anywhere in the middle of the country or the middle of the city, I will go with no mask. And I've met many different types of, police, checkpoints, military, and I actually, honestly, for the most part, it's civilians who are a little bit more nasty, if they're ever going to be. But I still come from that, I have a medical exemption. Don't tell them too big a story. So if you can keep it sweet, clean, quick and clear. Hi, how are you? I'm having a lovely day. I'm medically exempt. What's that over there? I want to buy that. Redirect the energy so that their focus is on something else straight away. If they persist, but you have to show me, but you have to do this. I actually had this, I went to Daniel Andrews' house the other night.
Wow.
His house, and I sat out the front Saturday evening, and his police security detail was there, came up to the car, and I filmed all this quite badly because it was again sudden. But the point I'm making is even he was saying to me, where's your worker's permit for being here? And I didn't have it with me. And I said, I don't have it with me, which was true, but I'm happy to send it to you. You've got to show it to me now. Well, I don't actually, but I'll send it to you, So again, and it was all diffused, it was lovely, and there was no trouble, and I wasn't arrested and I wasn't fined and nothing bad happened. He was actually lovely. But I find if you're in your power, you're kind, I always, if they say what's your name and address, give it to them. Don't, I know a lot of people are saying you don't have a right, and that's a whole nother story in common law, and, it's...
Yes.
But if you're just a normal civilian, an ordinary, with respect person, you're just going about your way, you don't want to have a big story. You just want to, here's my name, here's my ID, this is where I live, if I have to show you that. Is it really necessary, officer, or to the person that you're working with? I am exempt, and then redirect the story. Make it clean and calm.
However, some people that feel like they've been targeted unfairly could even look at a case for discrimination, couldn't they?
Yes.
When they feel the harassment is overbearing and it's taking a toll on their mental and physical well-being.
Yes, yeah. And I've got examples of that where I've had really a situation that happened, I think, on the 17th of September, which I haven't shared with anyone yet publicly. I got home, so pulled up in front of my house, talking actually to my dear friend Eilish D'Avalon on the phone. And while I was talking, I've just got home from a day of work, not doing anything wrong, I'm at home. This man comes running down my street, all dressed in black, all over the road, wobbling, turned the corner, collapsed into the bushes, stumbled up, crossed the road, obviously there's a problem. I'm still talking to my friend. Then the police officers running down the street, then another one. Turns out a whole pile of them charged this guy. There was whether he was mentally ill or drugs or I don't know the situation, but I immediately thought, after my situation with Bunnings, roll on in September, anything you see right now, film it.
Absolutely.
Because we know the police that stomped on the head of that poor man, and he ended up having to be placed in an induced coma. And I have reached out to his fiancé, I think, about that. That's another story. But for me, it was, I'm going to film this. I'm at home. So I've got out of my car with my phone and my keys. That's it, because I'm at home. Raced to 2 doors up and filmed it. Now, that has turned nasty on me. So the acting sergeant Daniel seems to be a theme, doesn't it? The people who are called Daniel at the moment. And I'm sure there's a lot of lovely Daniels out there, but this particular Daniel Allen was not lovely and pleasant. And I've since received, Jeff, a fine for $1,652 for breaching the Chief Health Officer's directive when I was at home filming a situation that happened 2 doors up from me. I did nothing illegal. I filmed it all myself so I can prove it. And it's like you're saying, we have a right when it's discriminating or, fined unlawfully. I've spoken to Serene, Teffaha, my lawyer.
Well done, yes.